Party rockers in the house
Ns, ns,
tonight.
ns, ns.
Lexi Apple make you feel all right.
Lexi Apple. Is that like something that you would like sing when that was out?
Actually, my brother would say Jay Meister make you feel all right.
And you're like, whoa,
So
I
I
like that.
did
I'm gonna.
feel it, but I'm not quite as big of a douchebag because I don't call myself like L Dog.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
What's your drink today?
I got a margarita.
Oh, you usually have a margarita.
I always have tequila in some way, shape, or form, I feel like. But my parents went to their Arizona. What did I just want to say? Arizona habitat, their house in Arizona. And before they do, they always empty out their fridge and give me all of the things that would go bad before they get back. And a really high class margarita mix in like a glass bottle was given to me. I think one of their friends that visited left it there actually, and it's really good. So normally I'm not a margarita girl. I'm a tequila girl, but not necessarily margaritas, but I've been sipping on this.
What? So it's our pre-mixed margarita.
Mhm. Well,
Nice.
no tequila. I have the tequila. I'm going to do a plug actually because it's really good. A lot of people make like mocktails with it too, which I think I want to start getting into mocktails more. So it's agave margarita. The brand is called Withco, with Company Cocktails. It's good on its own, but I obviously added a little tequila in honor of our house party episode tonight.
Oh yeah, and we weren't drinking high end mixers and tequila at that time.
Oh, I definitely was not drinking any tequila at that time, I don't think.
I think I had like tried Jose Cuervo or something like a little bit and thought it was horrible, which I do still think it's horrible, but not tequila, just old Jose.
Yeah. No, at that time, I think vodka was still very much the only thing we could get our hands on for the most part.
Well, and the beautiful part of a big bottle of vodka is you got so much bang for your buck. And it was difficult to come across those days. So,
Especially Hawkeye vodka.
in the grand state of Iowa, I wonder what other state's version of that is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm assuming that's an Iowa thing.
Yeah, and our mentality back then was it may have tasted like shit, but if you threw it in the freezer, it was doable.
It would get nice and syrupy.
Just get a little icy and oh.
Yeah, today we are going to dial it back to high school and college house parties. So, kind of like early 2000s into like early 2010s. I know that we talked to people who mostly went to high school and college during that time. So, we're going to kind of go back and talk about some personal stories and hear some listeners and what they had to say about this period of time
Can't
of
wait. Let's
discovery.
go. Yes. I personally haven't thought about this yet, Maddie. So why don't you start off by telling us why you're mad this week?
You always ask me first. I've been noticing this lately when I'm editing, and I feel like it's a ploy. I feel like you're never ready and you just go and ask me really quickly so that you can think of something really quick. And then I'm
No, I
never ready.
always, on the real, I always ask you because you're the one that always says what the episode's going to be about. So I feel like I have
Mm,
to sound like I kind of run this show as well.
I like it. I like it. Well, I actually am ready today, and it's super, super easy. And again, this episode airs after this will be a problem, but I am so over political ads. They are driving me insane. I literally have the names of the people who are running for office in my head constantly. Here we have Zach Nunn, Lanon Bakam. I mean, listen to that name. It's just so catchy. Lanon Bakam. It's
Mhm.
like become a household name. And Marionette Miller Meeks and Christine Mohannon. And literally, I just am constantly thinking of these people bashing each other. And it's on every second. So
Damn. And last weekend was one of the two Halloween weekends. I have a feeling people will celebrate this weekend as well. How many Halloween costumes did you see?
Zero. And
Really?
also, it's so funny because we went out for dinner to a place called Open Sesame here in Des Moines with a couple girlfriends. And we ended up going out to the 85 bar afterwards for a drink or two. And we sat down at a booth, and all of a sudden it turned 9:30, and all of these people in costumes started coming into the bar, and we're like, oh my gosh, we are out for Halloween right now, and we did not know this was going to happen.
Okay, this is so funny though. I feel like there's a difference between millennials and Gen Z in terms of which weekend you celebrate Halloween. Gen Z, it's the weekend after. So everyone was like, no, we're celebrating, what is it, November 2nd is a Saturday. That's it. And I was like, really? For me, I feel like that's after Halloween's over. So why would we do that? I think the rest of the millennials thought like me because that's what all of my stories and feeds was last weekend was them dressing up for Halloween. So thanks for having my back, everyone.
I've never heard of anybody celebrating after because, like, once it's over, it's over. The movies aren't on anymore, decorations are down. That's so weird. Maybe they are
You wait
like
and
on a
see.
mission to make it last longer, which I
Maybe.
don't hate.
Maybe. But basically, what I was getting at was I saw lots of outfits, costumes. Jeez, I mean they are outfits.
Well, that's called
Um,
business casual.
yeah, and unfortunately, the costume I did not want to see that I predicted would happen, P Diddy, saw lots of that as well.
Like, I did actually see baby oil.
Yeah,
What are you mad about?
we're going on 3 episodes now that this is my mad of the week.
Oh no, I don't even. Lexi, gosh, is it the perfume thing?
You guys, I finally
Are you
received
interested
it.
in this, people? Are you
Are you guys?
interested
Do you
in?
guys even care?
Because
If you
low key, I don't.
if you guys have to know, I don't love it. And I have it in deodorant too. So I'm gonna use it for a while, but pretty PO'd to be honest, and we can leave it at that.
I also, I was also listening to the episode with Emily where you first brought this up, and you were like, "Well, it's not like I spent like $100 on it, but $60 is a lot to spend on something that you don't like." I'm like 60 to 100, like same bracket, right? Like,
No. So I spent $60 on the perfume. I spent $20 on the deodorant that smells exactly like the perfume.
wow, you're wild. You're wild and out.
I'm
Okay,
stressed
so
out.
yeah, you said you were stressed, and it's mostly because of your job thing, I would
Yeah.
assume.
So it should all be over soon.
Okay, well, we should probably move on.
Let's move on.
Okay, this is the last time we're talking about perfume and deodorant. Done.
Yeah. No, it's the end of the story. The end.
She
Close
got
book.
it. She says it's not very good, but it's okay and might use it. Okay, that's
It's
what
not
a
a
story.
it's not a bad ending. It's not a great ending, but we'll take it.
It's just, yep.
It's just the end.
Anyways,
Anyways.
so okay, we said that we're gonna have a little house party episode.
Okay,
House party.
plot twist. Maddie and I actually already got drunk for this party episode, so that's why we can't talk.
Yeah. The sad thing is it's absolutely not true. And in
No.
fact, I should have had a warm-up cocktail. What do you
I
think?
think so too. I'm sweating.
Pre-game.
We should have pre-gamed for sure.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's a great topic.
Yeah.
So first,
Pre-gaming.
let's talk about how we got to parties and how we got out of the house. What was your situation? Like, if you knew there was a party going on Saturday night, what did you need to do in order to attend? And actually, me and Lexi both drank alcohol in high school. I'm not extremely proud of it, but we had fun and we did. So we were safe.
It was a little more intricate for me, especially than it was for you, Maddie. We had like completely opposite lifestyles back then. I feel like where my my older sister was a delinquent. Like savage. And so my mom knew every trick in the book and didn't trust me farther than she could throw me, even though I was an angel, honestly. Honestly, I was a really good kid. But she just wouldn't even give me the chance to mess up. So she kept me on a short leash. I would say I was usually the one having people over because of that. But on a few occasions, she did let me stay over at some friends' houses that had a little looser reins.
But she was very selective.
She was very selective. She wanted to know the parents. And luckily she knew Maddie's dad because we played volleyball together and we'd all be at tournaments together. So I did stay over. I didn't stay at your house often, but I did stay at your house. And then Kelly's house was the other one, but that was very short-lived.
Yeah.
We can get into that later. What was your situation like?
I grew up in a pretty liberal household, I would say. And my dad would agree too. As long as we had good grades and we were good people, we had freedom to kind of roam and do whatever as long as those things were in place. So, I mean, we couldn't have like parties at our house, but we could come home at midnight and my dad would just like be sleeping. And so we could just kind of get away with like sneaking upstairs quick. Where like if we went to your house, like your mom would be like waiting for us at
We'd have to talk
and we
to
would
her. Yeah,
yes.
it was very different. And so for me, if I knew there was a party on Saturday, I would have to start buttering my mom up like 2 Wednesdays before that. Being like, hey, not this weekend, but next weekend I'm gonna stay at Maddie's.
Because
talk to her dad.
Yes, and like we would have to have some reason why.
We would have to have a reason why. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't think we ever got in too much trouble together. I honestly I always just wanted to stay in at your house and watch movies and eat
I brought that
cheese.
up in my notes. I brought up one time, one of the rare times my mom said it was okay to stay at Maddie's. I think there was another girl staying at your house too, and she was all ready to go out and party. And I think I got in a really bad mood and wanted to go home. I don't know if a boy pissed me off or what, but I was like, I'm going. And you looked at her and you're like, I want to go to Lexi's. And then you're like, call your parents to pick you up. But you like opted out of a night out with this girl to just come chill at my house with me. You like wanted to come home with me and just chill and do nothing.
Yeah, I was more about that life.
Yeah, you were for sure. You were always just, I mean, I feel like when you can have it whenever you want, it's not a big deal, right?
Maybe that's what it was. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And Maddie had like basically had 2 beds in my bedroom, and Maddie would just come and stay all the time, like on school nights, whatever. So it was like a second home for you too.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, I felt like I was home, so it wasn't a big deal either.
Yeah. But one of the times I did stay over at Maddie's house, I'm getting into the Naderman night.
Okay. Oh, we went to Andrews.
We did. We went to Andrews, and it was my first time meeting him and basically everyone there. But we were drinking, and back then, remember, you took pulls of liquor and chased them with whatever you had.
With like a soda pop, a Powerade, whatever. Yeah. Orange soda was a very common one.
So basically, I'm just chugging it directly out of a Hawkeye vodka bottle and then like holding my breath and chasing it with probably like Coke or something.
Coca-Cola.
Sorry, I should say the full word. Don't get the wrong idea. And the next thing I remember is walking down a hallway and like using my hands, like, you know, to keep me up. And I get to this bedroom and I go inside and Maddie's laying on this bed. And she goes,
it's a water bed.
In. Yeah, she goes, come on in. The water's fine. She's floating on this water bed. And so I lay with her and it's fun and we're laughing for a minute. And then I look at her and I'm like, I think I'm getting seasick. And I got up and sprinted to the bathroom, and on my way I started puking, and it was terrible. And that was when I first found out that Andrew Naderman is an absolute angel, and he was a nurse now, right?
Yes, and he
He
found the
took
correct
such good care of me.
profession.
Yes, he took such good care of me. He wasn't gross at all, out at all. I remember while I was puking in the toilet, he picked up a chunk of my puke and went, "Turkey and cheese sandwich?" And it just so happened that that was the only thing I'd eaten that day because we had a volleyball tournament and I never ate while I played much. And yeah, we
So
get
funny.
we get back to Maddie's house and I'm still sick and she had two brothers. I'm gonna let you tell this part.
I'm gonna let you tell it. This is your personal experience.
I'm like gagging and Maddie's like, here, we're sitting on the floor in her bathroom. She opens the lid to the toilet. I turn to puke in the toilet and there's the largest turd I have ever seen. Just like it's like soaking soggy in the water. Like it's been sitting there forever. And I go, oop, and then I turn my head and I gag and I swallowed the puke in my mouth because I would have rather swallowed the puke in my mouth than puked on a fucking turd in the toilet.
Oh my
And we
god.
never figured out, Alex or Ryan, which one of you done it.
But it was one.
But
We don't know.
I remember just choking on my own vomit and hearing you just like trying to quietly laugh next to me.
Because we were trying to be quiet. Because I
Yeah.
still we still would
Yeah.
have gotten in trouble. Just
Yeah.
like
And like out of respect, you can't just like be blamed. Like you can't just like be so out there and direct about it. You gotta at least try to hide it.
so
Like,
true. Because maybe they'll just ignore it.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was so funny.
The Jones soda will do you good.
This was back in the day when Jones Soda was really cool and you could create your own label of Jones Soda for a contest. And so there's this photo of Lexi's head in the toilet and Andrew has the perfect thumbs up kind of off in the corner. And we created a label of that and sent it into Jones Soda. So it's perfection.
It did not win, but for a little bit there I was like, is this photo gonna follow me around for the rest of my life? Luckily you
Yes.
couldn't even see it was me, but I know it was me. And yeah.
Well, we're still talking about it 20 something years later.
All right, I'll allow you to post it.
We have to. It's so good.
Yeah. But my sleepovers came to an abrupt stop when one time my mom allowed me to stay at my friend's house and my friend said that she was staying at my house. We had a great night, pulled it off flawlessly. The next morning my mom came to pick me up. I got in the car. 2 days later my mom goes, "By the way, you're fucking grounded." And I'm like, "What the hell?" And then years later I found out that my friend had went on MySpace and did a public blog about our whole entire night.
You know what?
About everything we did. And I was with you that night. We were at Noonan's.
Yes, but you know what? She never said my name in any of the MySpace blogs. So your mom probably didn't even know that I was there.
Oh, good. Because, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that would have stopped. She probably
Your
knew
mom
that
knew that you were the one dragging me to parties and I was a sweet angel.
Oh, my. Okay.
But low-key kind of true. Smart. Sandy, that's a chess move. That's beautiful.
Noted.
Terrible.
But
well, I mean, one day you're going to be like, ooh, that was good. I'm going to use that.
I mean, no, I respect it. I respect it.
That's a good story. The only time I really got busted was that I remember clearly is I went out with our friend Daria and I was sleeping over at her house. And while we got a ride to a party, and it was always some random boys picking us up, taking us somewhere who were 16 or whatever. And so we got to this party. The minute we arrived, her cell phone starts ringing. And of course, it's like the little Nokia one or whatever. And so like you couldn't really text. You had to call back. And like how terrifying is that to think about nowadays? but had to call back. And like her dad said, get home now. And her parents terrified me because they were Russian. And
Yeah.
like, I thought they were
I can
so
still hear
scared.
it. I can still hear them being like, Daria.
Yes. And like, they were terrifying. And so her dad's like, your friend, go home now because I don't even remember. It's like,
Yeah.
your friend, go home now because you guys woke us up. And so I had to call a friend to come get me at like 1 a.m. And a real one came and picked me up. Don't remember who it was, but somebody
But
did.
I mean, thank you for your service, whoever you were. Yeah, it's
Yes.
terrifying. And you never know if that parent is like gonna snitch to your parents or not. Like you never know. And so you're like, do I proactively tell my parents or do I wait and see what happens? Which one's gonna screw me more?
What would you do if you were a parent? Would you call the other parent?
It depends on, I think, the age and the circumstance.
True. High
If
school,
Yeah.
I'm able. I think I would call the parents. If I knew this, I don't think it's my responsibility to like keep that in if it's
Yeah,
like
it
someone
would just
else's
be like
kid.
a heads up, this happened. I think I scared the shit out of them, but if you want to do something else, go for it.
Go
Yeah,
for it.
like,
I'll be the bad guy. I don't care. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
I think it's only fair to let that parent have the choice. But back then, I was like, oh, what a narc if they do that, you know?
Yes. Oh gosh. And it's
Yeah.
crazy to think like when you were in high school and college, like how old you really were. Like now that you see how old they are, you're like, oh my gosh, we thought we were so old and we were just tiny little runts, tiny
Yeah.
babies.
I don't blame my mom for having me on a leash, kind of, but she was a little too much. But I honestly preferred being the house that people came to. Usually, it's just kind of comforting just to be drunk in your own basement while your parents are upstairs. Which obviously my mom knew what was going on, but she knew where the hell we were, so
But
she
we didn't like have parties at your house or like we wouldn't get like
every
drunk.
once
You
in
know
a
what I mean?
while. But yeah, for the most part, it was like just a bunch of girls that would come over and hang out. And I remember one time it like dumped snow and we kept a bottle of SoCo in the snowbank behind my house at like the edge where the woods started. And then we lost it because it kept dumping snow out there. And I think my dad found it like in the spring and blamed it on me. And my mom was only mad because that's her favorite drink. And we wasted it.
Well, that is a waste. I would be so
Yeah.
upset. Like I remember like watering down alcohol or doing that at people's parents'
So
houses
they
and
wouldn't
like
know it was missing.
just take the bottle. Just don't do
Mhm.
that. Don't water it down.
You
I get
ruined
why
her
they say that
whole
now.
bottle. Yeah. And when we would steal liquor out of my parents' cabinet, we didn't even know what it was. So we were always drinking like schnapps and shit like that. Like it was actual like we were chugging peppermint schnapps.
Yes. You know what? Like looking back, I don't think we ever got like completely like obliterated. Like it was like we tried like to have some sips and the weird part was trying to figure out how much to drink. Like that's the scary part about like how like experimenting with alcohol at that age is
Yeah.
like we would just rip poles of vodka.
Well, and that's like one night I was actually DDing and I was out with Sarah and she was staying at my house. And like you said, we got home and I was like, "Hey, my mom's going to be waiting inside the door to talk to me. You're going to go straight to the bathroom, okay?" Because she was trashed. She hadn't been doing polls all night and I was like, "Do not stop. Keep walking." We walk in. She goes straight to the bathroom and I'm like talking to my mom and I'm sober, so I'm confident as fuck. Just talking to her and all of a sudden we hear this big bang and something rolling across the floor. And I'm just like, "All right, good night." And I walk in there and here she must have like you know how you just like are sloppy strong when you're drunk? She went to slap the toilet paper holder that was screwed into the wall and just ripped it out of the wall. and it was rolling across my floor. So after my parents went to bed, in high school, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was in there with like a screwdriver trying to like get it back into the wall, and it had stripped the holes. And I ended up, when my brother got home, making him fix it for me, and he had to like pick up Sarah and put her in my bed with a puke bowl, and then we went downstairs and played Guitar Hero. But yeah,
Oh.
that was like the one night where I was like, you're gonna fuck this up for me, and I was actually a good girl tonight.
But at least like it was not you, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just didn't want to put my parents in that situation where they probably would have to tell Sarah's parents, and then we're the bad household. Like, it's different when I'm doing it to other people, right?
But I love this sheer panic of like you grabbing a screwdriver. Like you were never good at anything like until you needed to be. And then it was like
Yeah.
sheer panic mode to fix stuff. Like I have such a funny story about this. My brother played college baseball and he was back in town for the summer and he drove my grandpa's white van like around town. And I guess this is the story. One of his friends was really drunk and grabbed the wheel and they went into a ditch with it. And then, so he gets out, finds some random white spray paint and paints this van where it had a huge dent in it and scratches. And my grandpa, I don't know if he just ignored it or if he's just kind of old and didn't notice, but there's literally like spray paint like dripping down on this part of it. Never got busted, never said a word. It looked so bad. And like I just imagine the panic of like, oh my gosh, and finding anything to try to fix it.
He was desperate. That was just the whole plan to get there and back, right? We haven't even gotten to a party yet. And then you get to the party scene. Let's talk about,
should we get ready first?
We could go that direction. We could get ready. You mean how you get full glam to go to the dingiest, grossest party house?
Or
and probably
field?
be in a basement? Yeah, exactly. A field or a basement.
Oh my gosh. I remember being in fields with like a cute little handbag purse on your shoulder and like in jeans and like looking cute. What were we doing?
I don't even know what we got ready for because the guys sure as shit didn't get ready much.
No, all they had to do. Oh, actually, this is kind of funny. They used to do that thing with their hair, like just gel the front.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit. That was so hot.
That was. I was going to say like early 2000s. Anything from the buckle was fire, in my opinion.
The buckle, that was huge. I remember Becca said the leggings under the denim skirt with the belt hanging around the hips, which is so funny because you just sent me a photo of me wearing this literally 2 days ago.
I think that was like the only time I've ever seen you wear that. And it was to a Sadie Hawkins dance at a different high school.
Well, I matched with Bethany. Bethany wore the same outfit as me.
Oh, yeah.
And we wore these like white tops, the denim skirt. We thought we looked so cute. And it is so bad. But like it was cute, but it's pretty bad. But literally one of our listeners wrote in, Becca said, the leggings under the denim skirt with a belt hanging loose around the hips. And that's exactly what we were wearing. So it's like nailed it.
Word for word. Yeah.
This would have been like 2005 or something around there, I think. But then, yeah, I remember also, what else was cool? Like an Abercrombie zip up with like some fur on the hood, and like you'd scrunch your hair with gel, but then you'd like take your bangs and like fry the crap out of them, just the front with a straightener.
Girl, I rocked that look, and I had actually curly hair that was crunchy AF.
It was the look though. Like you weren't doing anything bad. Like you looked good.
But I was also like lazy, so I would pull it back too, so you could just see the crunched fro with the straight bangs and no like length or anything. It was bad. It was fucking bad. And those bangs.
But yeah, and then like lots of like tan foundation, and everyone went tanning at the time. Some people would put like the foundation on the lips, like there, and then lots of eyeliner. Do you remember this look I'm talking about right now?
I do.
I
I
wish I
do.
had like a picture of it.
I look back at pictures of me in high school and I think my eyes look so small, and I think it's because of how much eyeliner I put around
Oh
them.
yeah, right? And like around the whole rim.
Mm-hmm. Disgusting.
And then for a while there, is it bandage or bondage dresses? Is it bandage dresses? Do you remember when those were like super cool too? Everybody was wearing a short like bandage dress,
What's that?
like those tight wrapped up dresses with
I
like
don't know if I've ever
pumps.
had one.
I did not have
Is
one.
this still in high school or is this like more in college?
End of high school going into college.
Okay.
They
Well,
were
that would have been my buckle days. I was just wearing
you were a little more
buckle things.
cash. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was too. I was not wearing these dresses, but they were really
Mm-hmm.
cool. People will know what I'm talking about. And yeah, otherwise, if it was a theme party, there are a lot of different themes going on during this time too.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
CEO and office hose. Is that one of them? CEOs and office hose.
I
Toga,
can't say I've been to one of them. A toga party, yeah.
ABC parties, anything but
Mm-hmm.
clothes parties, where you have to like dress up in like anything, saran wrap, bubble wrap, I think.
Yep.
And then like what else was another one? Pimps and hoes. These are so bad.
I would say the only real themed party that we had consistently was just like black light highlighter parties. And I think you came up for one we had for my birthday one year,
Yes, and we
freshman
have
year.
photos from that. Don't
Hmm.
share them. I'm just kidding. There was nothing bad about them, but they're
There was
just.
nothing bad about them except for my fake extensions I had, and they're terrible.
This was when extensions were just starting to be a thing, and
They
they
were
looked
like,
like a
yeah.
ratty squirrel in everybody's hair. It wasn't you; it was
Mhm.
everybody.
Yeah, the clip-ins. It actually, like, when I took my time to curl my hair was so thick that it actually blended in nicely, but I had it stick straight and you could see the abrupt stop of my hair here and then the fake hair just going down here.
And you looked in the mirror that night, and you're like, "Oh, it's
I
my
look
birthday, and I look
good. Yep.
good."
I felt like a boss ass bitch that night.
Yes, and you looked like one. You looked good.
And the cops got called. So I
Oh
feel like
yeah.
there's a reoccurring thing, Maddie. We honestly didn't go to parties often together, but 3 of them that we went to together, the cops got called. Do you realize that?
No, I really didn't. I know the one.
My birthday party, and then there was one where we got our very shy friend that never got went out to go out, and the cops got called.
Who?
Ted. Remember we got Todd Pillard to go out, and then we are at this house party and the cops get called, and Maddie and I luckily were in the backyard, and I just hear her saying cops, cops, and pushing me, and we take off sprinting through the backyard. Maddie, you love telling this part when we're running.
I do. It's amazing what adrenaline can do for you because we were running with the fastest track runner in our high school and we were keeping up with him and we were wearing those slip-on clogs and we were keeping up with the fastest runner at Dubuque Senior High School. Swear
Yeah.
on my
Yeah.
life. And
So
we
we're
ran
right on
across
the
the highway.
to Los's Tekis, and we run inside and we're like
The-
like huffing and puffing. We're like, table for 3, please.
Because
And
we figured if we got in there, could get a table, we were going to be fine. The cops
Yeah.
would never figure out that we were at
Yeah.
that party.
like they were even gonna walk into Los's Tekis looking for us, first of all. And then we realized that they're all the workers were like congregated around a table and they're like, we're closed.
And we just panicked. But I love that story because I'm a runner. I'm a track star. We can keep up.
It was very impressive. And then we were worried about Ted then. We're like, oh my God, he's never gonna go out again. And we call him and he's like, I've been driving around looking for you guys.
Wasn't everyone jumping off of like decks, like the deck?
Yeah, I think he was one of them. He jumped off a deck and ran to his car because he drove us that night. And everything was all good. But the final one where the cops got called was when the semester when we were both graduated from high school. You came back for a weekend. We didn't even know like that we were going to run into each other, and we go to this house on was that Loris?
Yes.
That was Loris, which since then that house has blown up, correct?
I think it was it that exact house.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, that's kind of weird.
That's kind of crazy. So,
Anyways,
yeah,
let's
so
talk
we
about
run into
chaotic.
each other. We have a picture from that night that Maddie decided to post to Facebook. Remember, your mom commented on being like, your future employers will be so proud or something
It
like
didn't
that.
show any alcohol in it. We were just
No,
being
I
silly.
was just like, and you looked good, I think. I was always making ugly faces, but I love this story too because the cops came and I tried going out the back. I had lost Maddie at this point. I tried going out the back and the cops stopped me, and all they did was take my name and then ask me if I had a safe ride, and they let me go. Meanwhile, I found out on the inside.
I'm trying to escape.
they capture Maddie.
So I'm sitting in the kitchen. I'm sitting next to this cop, and I'm like, crap, I can't believe I got busted. And the guy whose house party it was like, hey, go hide in the closet over there. Go hide in the closet over there. You know, he's like obviously panicking. Go hide in the closet over there. I'm like, okay. You know, so I go. And they open the door, pull me out, and they're like, we already found you. Like, we know you're here.
I'm always like,
And I was like,
Maddie playing hide and go seek with the cops.
so bad. So yeah, that was I think that was my last encounter with the cops. So life's been good.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, so great. We turned 21 and never got busted again, so that's great.
Except for, oh my gosh, were you with me that one time when it was Laura's homecoming and we were walking across the street jaywalking?
No.
Oh, who was that? I don't know. This cop like was trying to get us in trouble for jaywalking, but
Oh wait, is this the time that they kept driving you home?
no, I think like if we see you out again, we will arrest you. And like we were fine. It was the strangest situation. We literally put a flashlight at a taxi cab and then put it on the ground in front of them, and the taxi cab stops, pulls up, and they're like, give these girls a ride home. And they're like, if we see you out again, we're gonna arrest you. And me and Brandy were like, what the hell just happened? And then Brandy's like, that we get in the taxi, and the taxi's like, where do you want to go? And she's like, take us to the yard arm. And I'm like, no, we are not going out anywhere. We are going home. This guy just said he'd arrest us. So you got your hair scrunched. You're wearing your favorite Abercrombie zip up. You have your cool jeans on. You have your little silver purse hanging on the side of your arm with like 2 things in it, because what did we even have? Like $10. Anyways, where are you going? What is your party of choice? What's your favorite location?
Well, I loved a good house party, and something about, old school vintage farmhouse and just being fucked up in the middle of nowhere just really made you feel at ease, like you could really let loose. But they would have like fires outside and drive gators around drunk, and so that was fun. But I was always inside in the living room with an iPod plugged into some speakers, dancing with all the girls. That was the majority of
that
the night.
ox. You lit that ox on fire.
Yes. And then
And it
there's
really was an ox
in
at the time.
beer pong in the kitchen. You know, the whole setup. It was great.
Yeah. What are some of your, well, first off, okay, remember we're from Iowa. Fields were a common place to gather with no parents. You know, that was a great place to pass out and be forever like halfway dying in a field. That's so scary, honestly, thinking about that.
Yeah,
like we would just
silly.
go get in cars with random boys, because boys were always just the drivers, random 16 to 18-year-old boys, and they would drive us to random places in the country, and we would just be drinking in the back seat, like show up wherever and just roll with it. Like terrifying.
I was gonna say our form of pre-gaming was usually drinking in a car on the way to the party.
Yes. I forgot about pre-gaming. Pre-gaming is essential. And yes. I still take an active approach in my pre-gaming a little bit. Like I like to do one drink before I go out to like a party or something.
Yeah, it definitely helps. That's for sure.
Helps what?
Helps so that when you show up, you're not the only sober one.
Like we should do more often for our podcast.
Probably. We need to pregame our podcast. You're right.
You know, you said you had the aux on. Is there any songs in particular that like bring you back to that place?
Oh, yeah. So if we're talking high school, how do you say Cascada? She became popular when we first started partying.
Like evacuate the dance floor.
No, like, and every time we touch, I get this feeling, and every time we kiss, I swear I can fly.
Oh my gosh. I remember when we first were able to like go out to bars like LMFAO.
Oh, yes, really bars.
Big, but we're not. Yeah, we're trying to stay house party, but like if you have any cool bar songs, I'm always.
Yeah, like remember when Airplanes by B.O.B. came out? I still vividly remember the first time I heard that.
Your NIA Airplanes, that song, like
yes,
it rose out of the ground to that song. It was so good.
And I don't know why, like my freshman year of college, I remember partying to obviously Kesha TikTok.
Oh my gosh. There's certain nights that remind you perfectly of particular songs, and TikTok by Kesha it sends me back to a particular night.
I love how she changed the lyrics to wake up in the morning thinking fuck P. Diddy.
I love that, actually.
Yeah. But also college, I remember when I'm only gonna break your heart. You remember that? Was it like Tayo or something?
Yes. I also think of like The Down by Lil Wayne and Jay Sean. Yeah. I think of Oh My God with Usher. And Kiss Me Through the Phone.
Like, Soulja Boy. Yeah.
So at these parties, there's always a cast of characters.
Yes.
Is there any in particular that come to mind when you think of like characters at a party?
I will start with the competitor. And that is the one that is either owning the beer pong table all night or calling next game and probably yelling elbow every time the other team throws the ball.
I've been that person.
I know, me too. I was going to add probably the one that I identify with the most because I am competitive.
I'm not proud of it, but I do like to have an activity to do. But then I'm also the one who will bail on the game halfway through because my attention span no longer can take it. After winning so much, it gets, it just gets to be too much.
Boring. It gets old after winning so much. Yeah. So that was the very first one that I was like, damn it. I'm going to call myself out.
That's funny that you thought that too, because I'm like, I cringed when you said it because I'm like, oh, yikes. That's me.
Yeah.
Okay. The old weird guy. There's always an old weird guy.
You're like, who knows this guy? Who's this guy here with?
He's usually there, I'm assuming, because the host knows him and he probably provided quite a bit of alcohol. And so he's the weird old guy. And now that I'm older, it's very creepy and weird. But at the time, it was like, oh, it's that random old guy.
Yep. I had the DJ, so the one that has to control the music.
Yes, which is not always the host.
No, there's always a music snob that's like, you guys don't know the song yet?
Or at the time, it was the person who owned the, it's not an iPhone, you guys. What is it called? iPod.
Yeah.
It was the person who owned an iPod that was updated, and they did their due diligence every week of plugging their stuff into the computer and uploading their LimeWire stuff to that.
They're probably the first one to upgrade from the Nano to the Touch.
Oh, God bless those people. They weren't me, but
Mhm.
I sure benefited from them.
Yeah, exactly.
And my computer did too.
What else you got?
Um, a listener wrote in, Becca said the potheads in the back room, which is like so funny because it gives you this instant visual
Mm-hmm.
that is so true.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They at least they're considerate enough to, like do it in a different room. If you wanted to join, you're more than welcome.
yeah, but they were just kind of
Hmm.
more into that like low key vibe in the back.
Yeah.
And then the girl in the bathroom. There's always the girl in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's true. Just taking up the bathroom. There's a line outside the door to get in. She's just taking her time. I
Yes.
also had the photographer, so the one with the camera. Remember they're not disposable cameras. What were they called?
Digital cameras.
Digital cameras, and they
Oh,
would also be the ones to upload them to a Facebook album the
with
next day.
with no discretion. It was there
Yeah.
are 200 photos on this digital camera. They're all going into a Facebook
Yep.
album called Nights We'll Never Forget with the People Will Always Remember or something.
Yes, exactly. And then I also had the drunk philosopher, the one that gets a little tipsy and then suddenly becomes incredibly deep.
This happens so much and it can be anybody sometimes, but there's
Yeah.
some friends that I mean, they always went this way.
Yeah. And you're like, oh God, I'm not in the mood for this sometimes. You can see where it's
Or
going.
that friend that'll always pull you in the bathroom. Like,
Hmm.
hey, I have to talk to you about this. And they just once they get drunk, they just go deep. I know exactly what you're talking
That's
about. And it's my
true.
least.
Because they're like, some of them are like confession people where they get drunk and they need to confess things that they never told you, too.
Hmm. Oh, yikes. I would never what I would pay to like not ever go
Yeah.
back to that.
Insane.
Yeah. And that's all I really thought about. Like
Yeah.
it I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm not thinking of, but yeah, your photographer was really good. I didn't think about that.
It was just, the one person with the camera that was like, smile.
Yes. Or sometimes the mysterious host. Like if you were invited to this party, but you didn't necessarily know the host, but you were like trying to be nice to them because you knew you were
Hmm.
at their house,
Yeah.
but you didn't really know them. That was
Yeah.
such a weird feeling.
Yeah. Like, I don't belong here. Do they
Yeah.
even want me here?
Oh, I hated that feeling. The
Yeah.
places we would go. Um, okay. So you've gotten to the house. The characters are out. What are you drinking? Wait, let's go to high school. What are you drinking in high school?
We already mentioned how we drank in high school. We took polls, usually Hawkeye. If it was beer, I feel like it was Keystone Ice.
Keystone or
Yeah.
Natty Ice.
Yes, that's what
Mm.
I was thinking of actually. I think everyone on the survey mentioned the UVs, the UV family.
You can't you cannot say 2000s millennial culture without including UV blue. And the crazy part about it, Lexi, is did we just like the color of it? It didn't taste good. Like
It
there
didn't
was
taste good.
something that kept bringing us back to purchasing
It
it.
was the colors. I remember one time you and I, when we were visiting your mom, we tried making Pepsi Blue. Remember Pepsi Blue, everyone? That doesn't exist anymore. We thought if we mixed UV Blue with Pepsi, it would magically taste like Pepsi Blue. We kept adding more and more, thinking it would eventually turn blue, but it never did. And it
Well,
was
and
disgusting.
like again with the experimenting with alcohol, like we were probably doing 50-50 or like
Yeah,
80-20.
disgusting.
Like
We didn't know how to pour a drink. I
you had-
still, to this day, cannot eat anything green apple because of UV green. We switched it
Ooh.
up one night. And do you remember back when we were in the days where we did the polls, people would get labeled as like good drinkers. Like you'd be like, oh, she's a good drinker if they could like take a good poll or like keep it down or whatever. And I was labeled as a good drinker one night. And so I kept drinking and it was UV green. And I had my mom convinced I had the flu. This happened on a Saturday, and I stayed home from school Monday and Tuesday the next week. And I still, like I said, cannot do anything green apple.
That's called alcohol poisoning, Lexi.
Yes. Yes.
That's so
Yes.
bad. But like the good drinker, that's so bad. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't that
That
make
was
you
our
feel sick?
culture. That
It
was our
was.
generation's culture. You drank. There was like, if you didn't drink, it was kind of frowned upon. And I love that we're getting away from that mentality, but that's how it was in high school. You weren't cool if you weren't drinking, not saying it's right, or I
And
even
if
agreed
you
with it.
and if you weren't good at it and didn't handle it well,
Yeah.
you
Then you were
know?
looked down on.
Yeah, that's so sad, but we did it. I remember drinking.
That's so sad, but we were cool as fuck and we were good drinkers, y'all. But that's really unfortunate for the bad drinkers, but we took it like a champ.
I honestly like don't think I really like threw up or anything ever. Like it's actually like bad. Like I should have been puking. I don't know. So good drinker, I guess.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so another thing we would drink, we would always get like in college, we would get a 30 pack of Bud Lights, the drink of
Bud
choice.
Light.
Bud Light with a bottle of Captain. If we were broke that week, we would go Lady Bly. We would drink those weird different names. Like
Jesus.
like instead of like Sailor Jerry's, there was like a different like extremely spiced rum. Ah, gosh, do you remember these?
Yeah, I'm like salivating because it makes me sick. I was never a rum person.
I think Southern Host was something instead of SoCo. But yeah, it was not good. Okay, and I would also we need to bring up Jungle Juice. I mean, we would literally fill up bathtubs full of alcohol.
Yuck. Yeah. And Jungle Juice, I would say I more so got into that in like college, along with like that's when got super into Jello shots as well. But we used to make beer lemonade. Beerade, we'd call it. Did you ever get into that?
Not once, no.
What was your first experience with Everclear?
I remember in high school there were bottles of Everclear that people would take shots out of. That's so dangerous.
That's so bad. I remember one time when we were drinking it at Emily's dorm at UNI.
You would drink it straight.
No, we were drinking it mixed with, I think, Kool-Aid, actually. I was probably just buzzed at that point, but something was off with my stomach, and I went in the bathroom, and I was, like, standing over the toilet cautiously, like, in case a puke came, and I had no idea that one was coming. Just standing straight up, it just, like, shot out of my mouth, and it went out of my nose, too, and it, like, cinched my nose. Like, my nose canal was burnt from it coming out. That's when
bad.
I was like, damn, this stuff is nothing to mess around with. Like, drink with caution. Yeah.
It's poison. I mean,
yes.
Oh my gosh.
I totally forgot about this until right now.
Oh, and that's what Jungle Juice was made out of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywhere. And I just asked my friends, Laura and Rachel, before I hopped on here, I was like, what did you guys drink in college? And Rachel's like, anything I could just bring my own red cup to. And I was like, yeah, savvy. I know we talked about being competitive, but what games were like your favorite games?
Boom cup.
Okay. Kenzie wrote in and said boom cup, flip cup, power hour.
We have a video of us power houring.
Does that exist?
What do you mean? The video?
Yeah.
It has to be somewhere. I gotta go through my videos.
Do we want to see that?
I think we do.
Favorite college card game? I have to say Circle of Death. We overplayed that, like to the point of like I can't even stand it anymore. Yeah. People are like, let's play this. And I'm like, no, I will never play a drinking card game ever again. I get nice and not too drunk, just drinking on my own, sipping on whatever I want. I'm not chugging drinks ever again in my life.
I agree. That was a good game because you could kind of like fuck off and then someone could tell you it's your turn and you draw a card. Like you didn't have to pay attention. And I hate card games too. The only other card game I will play is Asshole.
Yes, I really liked that for a hot minute too.
Mhm.
That was
Yeah.
fun. I forgot about
Yeah.
that one.
I still play that.
I
I
like
just started playing Speed again.
okay. There's like two
Yeah.
and there's the sides.
Yep. And most people have never heard of it. So I'm like teaching people
Oh, I loved
and
it.
I loved it. Yes.
I've been
Yeah.
playing this gambling game for $1 bills. Have I made you play this with me? Yeah, I probably made you play it in Mexico.
We didn't actually play it, but you told me to bring dollars to play it.
Okay, I like literally carry around this poker case full of chips and like hundreds of ones that I just have on me at all times so that we can play this game.
Hundreds of ones. Jeez.
Well, yeah, you have to just make sure that you have enough like for people to Venmo you and then give it out.
Oh,
You know what I
okay.
mean? Because
So
like
you can always play.
people don't have cash anymore.
Yeah, it's true. I don't. That's for sure.
The night's over. By the way, I hope to God you're not waking up on the couch of some random house. I think we've all had to have done that at least like one time, and it is so gross.
Yes. Yucky.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, the night before, we were just literally filling up our beer pong cups with beer. The cup would bounce all over the basement, flop into the cup, and we would drink all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Disgusting.
we were just kind of gross back then. It's fine.
It's
Our
really
immunity,
gross.
our immune system really got built up because of that. We're resilient.
Mhm.
So you're waking up. Hope to God it's not on someone else's couch. Hopefully you're at home safe, surrounded by your roommates, the people you
Mhm.
love.
Yes.
What is your morning after routine?
Well, if we go back in time, I always ended my night with a Pizzone, which they don't make anymore. But I would order a Pizzone almost every time I drank. Canadian bacon, green olive, the saltiest thing in the world. And I'd smash the whole thing.
Oh my gosh, a Pizzone. I haven't thought of a Pizzone in over 15 years, probably.
I think
That's
about
wild.
them a lot. I loved them.
Wow. So
But
when they left,
anyways.
you noticed.
Oh yeah, I was heartbroken.
I do love that about you. If we are out drinking, even to this day, you're always down to order pizza or make
yeah.
one on your pizzazz or eat some sort of food before we go to bed. And that is a game changer.
It is. You got to eat before you go night-night. It's a rule.
Yeah. Even if you don't want to, you just have to.
Even if it's a hot pocket, just something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Complete sludge, but delicious. And yeah, it'll help.
Yeah, but if I get home and I just like for whatever reason it doesn't happen, I feel like Jimmy John's is always a solid choice when you're hungover.
I do too, but I worked at Jimmy John's all throughout high school, so like I don't know if it was just me because I'm low key obsessed with Jimmy John's in general. So
No,
Not
I
just
did
me.
it too. Especially since in Cedar Falls too, sometimes I would get that at 2 a.m. because their Jimmy John's was open till 2 a.m. So sometimes I'd
Ames, like-
end on that note, and if I didn't, the next day I would usually get that.
I know Polito said Pedialyte. They've come up with some really, really good electrolyte drinks lately. What did the pioneers do after they drank moonshine? How did they survive?
Salt water.
No idea.
Yeah,
disgusting. I would say that like what we did all the time is we would go out for breakfast a lot. Like there was a cute little cafe right down the street, Sunshine in Dubuque. We would go there all the time, and we would just be completely like still kind of messed up. I feel like because we would sleep like 3 hours. But then my favorite thing that would ever happen is the night after a party is pulling out the digicam and going through it like slide by slide with the girls and like just remembering everything that you like. It's not that you blacked out, you just are kind of reminiscing about the night.
Yeah.
And it is so fun to talk about all the things that happened in order and like remembering all these fun little things. We're like, oh, that's where you were because we were wondering where you were. Or that was so fun.
Remember Breakfast Buddies?
Yes.
And I just remember eating bishops with Naderman. And
Yes.
I kept going to the little kid station where the Dino Nuggets were and the Jello squares, and yeah.
I always did that too. Little mini
Mhm.
corn dogs. I still like love those things. But
Yeah.
yeah, we had a threesome. We had a threesome of friends that would go out for breakfast, and we would try
Yeah.
new places all the time.
Yeah.
And we got adventurous. Bishop's Buffet. I don't know if these were nationwide. I think they had to have
If
been.
there's a Bishop still open, will you guys let me know?
We
I
will
will
travel
drive
the
to it.
country.
Yes. Yeah, but it would be awesome because we wouldn't even see or hear from him like the night before. The next morning, we'd just get a text that was like, Brecky?
And
Question
we're
mark?
like, we're in.
We're in. We're ready. I love it.
After talking to you about this, I have a lot of concerns about my past.
I feel like we might get judged on this episode, maybe, but I know we weren't the worst ones, but were we the majority or the minority?
I think middle. I think we were middle ground. I think
Yeah.
we were good kids. We just, and again, these are like the craziest stories that we have that we're sharing. So just like piling them up makes us look naughty. But
Naughty.
we had fun, and we're good. We're productive, normal adults. It's okay.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. If we missed anything, let us know. I'd be so curious to see what your guys' experiences are.
Yes. Be sure to follow for new episodes every Wednesday on Spotify and Apple. I always fuck up.
That's your last name, bro.
Apple Podcasts.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Wait You're Mad.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.